Hello and welcome to the Harris Federation Scheme of Work on Times of Change. This is a creative writing unit where you will produce your own creative writing when you've finished all of the lessons. This can be an imagined piece or it can be a personal experience of your own. So have your pen and paper ready and be creative. Remember, this is a video format, so you can pause at any time whenever you need to do your work or if you need to go back and recap any ideas. Enjoy your lesson.
So what is rhetoric? It's the art of effective or persuasive speaking or writing. So each of these people are particularly skilled in the art of rhetoric. Martin Luther King, Jamila Jamil, Greta Thunberg, Barack Obama. You may wish to look up some of their speeches to see what I mean. In a moment you'll see lots of clips from famous movie speeches that are quite inspirational. Have a think about why they're so inspirational.
No!
Can you find any rhetorical devices that they use?
Shame on
Will you fight?
This could be the greatest night of our lives. But you're gonna let it be the worst.
And I guarantee a week won't go by in your life you won't regret walking out, letting them get the best of it.
Well, I'm not going home.
You've got too far!
And I'm gonna stay right here and fight for this lost cause.
A day may come when the courage of men fails, but it is not this day.
I'm gonna stay right here and fight for this lost cause.
This far, no farther!
I'm not saying it's gonna be easy.
You're gonna work harder than you ever worked before.
But that's fine, we'll just get tougher with it.
Crystal grits his teeth and shows real determination.
Failure is not an option.
That's how winning is done.
Believe me when I say we can break this army here.
And win just one for the gift.
But I say to you, what every warrior has known since the beginning of time.
You've got to get mad.
I mean plumb mad dog mean.
If you would be free men, then you must
Fight to fulfill that promise. Let us cut out their living guts
1 inch at a time.
And they will know what we can do!
Let no man forget how menacing we are. We are lions. Like a big bear, man.
This is your time.
Seize the day.
Never surrender.
Victory or death.
Who's with me?
Clap! Clap! Don't let him die! Clap!
All right, let's fly. And gentlemen in England, now I beg, shall know my name is the law. But I tell our enemies that they may take our lives, but they'll never take our Independence Day.
Now I want you to match the definitions with the rhetorical device. Which black box matches to the white box definition? Pause the video whilst you work these out. Here come the answers. George Floyd was an African-American man killed by police during an arrest in America. A police officer knelt on his neck for almost 9 minutes while other police officers watched and did not stop him. George Floyd tried protesting by saying, "I can't breathe," but his pleas were ignored. Protests in response to his death, and more broadly to police violence against black people, quickly spread across the United States and internationally. The mayor in Atlanta talked about violence that she was seeing in her city, where businesses and buildings were being destroyed in protest. She told people to go home and stop rioting because it wasn't helping anyone. The speech that we are going to look at today is responding to these riots in Atlanta. The rapper Killer Mike delivered a moving speech in response to the Atlanta riots. In a moment, you're going to watch this speech. It would be good if you could print out the speech that should be with this lesson, but if not, just follow along with the video. But if you can, follow along with the speech typed out. What are his key messages? As we listen to the speech, make notes on all of the rhetorical devices that he uses. Think back to the beginning of the lesson where you matched up all of the rhetorical devices. And what is it about his speech that is so effective? It's about the rhetorical devices he uses. So make notes as you listen.
I didn't want to come, and I don't want to be here. I'm the son of an Atlanta City police officer. My cousin is an Atlanta City police officer, and my other cousin, East Point police officer. And I got a lot of love and respect for police officers, down to the original 8 police officers in Atlanta that even after becoming police had to dress in a YMCA because white officers didn't want to get dressed with niggers. And here we are 80 years later. I watched a white officer assassinate a black man, and I know that tore your heart out. And I know it's crippling. And I have nothing positive to say in this moment because I don't want to be here. But I'm responsible to be here because it wasn't just Dr. King and people dressed nicely who marched and protested to progress this city and so many other cities. It was people like my grandmother, people like my aunts and uncles who were members of SCLC and NAACP, and in particular, Reverend James Orange, Mrs. Alice Johnson, and Reverend Love, who we just lost last year. So I'm duty-bound to be here to simply say that it is your duty not to burn your own house down for anger with an enemy. It is your duty to fortify your own house so that you may be a house of refuge in times of organization. And now is the time to plot, plan, strategize, organize, and mobilize. It is time to beat up prosecutors you don't like at the voting booth. It is time to hold mayoral offices accountable, chiefs and deputy chiefs. Atlanta is not perfect, but we're a lot better than we ever were, and we're a lot better than cities are. I'm mad as hell. I woke up wanting to see the world burn down yesterday because I'm tired of seeing black men die. He casually put his knee on a human being's neck for 9 minutes as he died like a zebra in the clutch of a lion's jaw. And we watch it like murder porn over and over again. So that's why children are burning to the ground. They don't know what else to do. And it is the responsibility of us to make this better right now. We don't want to see one officer charged. We want to see 4 officers prosecuted and sentenced. We don't want to see targets burning. We want to see the system that sets up for systemic racism burnt to the ground. And as I sit here in Georgia, home of Stevens, Georgia, former vice president of the Confederacy, white man said that law, fundamental law, stated that whites were naturally the superior race, and the Confederacy was built on a cornerstone. It's called a cornerstone speech. Look it up. The cornerstone speech that blacks would always be subordinate. That officer believed that speech because he killed that man like an animal. In this city, officers have done horrendous things and they have been prosecuted. This city's cut different. In this city, you can find over 50 restaurants owned by black women. I didn't say minority, and I didn't say women of color. So after you burn down your own home, what do you have left but char and ash? CNN? Ted did a great thing. I love CNN, I love Cartoon Network, but I'd like to say to CNN right now, karma's a mother. Stop feeding fear and anger every day. Stop making people feel so fearful. Give them hope. I'm glad they only took down a sign and defaced a building and they're not killing human beings like that policeman did. I'm glad that they only destroyed some brick and mortar and they didn't rip a father from a son. They didn't rip a son from a mother like the policeman did. When a man yells for his mother in duress and pain and she's dead, he is essentially yelling, please God, don't let it happen to me. And we watch that. So my question for us on the other side of this camera is, after it burns, will we be left with charred, or will we rise like a phoenix out of the ashes that Atlanta has always done? Will we use this as a moment to say that we will not do what other cities have done, and in fact, we will get better than we've been? We got good enough to destroy cash bonds. You don't have to worry about going to jail for something petty. We got smart enough to decriminalize marijuana. How smart are we going to be in the next 15 or 20 years to keep us ahead of this curve? So that much like when South Africa suffered apartheid, you had Andy and other politicians that could make sure that Atlanta said, Coca-Cola, we love you, but if you don't pull out of South Africa, we're going to leave. We're not going to drink Coca-Cola anymore. Coca-Cola jumped on their side and apartheid ended. So we have an opportunity now. Because I'm mad, I don't have any good advice. But what I can tell you is that if you sit in your homes tonight, instead of burning your home to the ground, you will have time to properly plot, plan, strategize, and organize and mobilize in an effective way. And two of the most effective ways is first taking your butt to the computer and making sure you fill out your census so that people know who you are and where you are. The next thing is making sure you exercise your political bully power and going to local elections and beating up the politicians that you don't like. You got a prosecutor sent your partner to jail and you know it was bullshit, put a new prosecutor in there. Now's your election to do it. You want a different senator that's more progressive, that promotes marijuana through, now is the time to do that. But it is not time to burn down your own home. I love and I respect you. I hate I don't have more to say. I hate I can't fix it in a snap. I hate Atlanta's not perfect for as good as we are. But we have to be better than this moment. We have to be better than burning down our own homes. Because if we lose Atlanta, what else we got? We lose an ability to plot, to plan, to strategize, to organize, and to properly mobilize. I want you to go home. I want you to talk to 10 of your friends. I want you guys to come up with real solutions. I would like for the Atlanta City Police Department to bring back the Community Review Board, one that Alice Johnson was formerly under Chief Turner. We need a review board here ahead of it before an officer does some stupid shit. We need to get ahead of it. That's my recommendation to my mayor and my chief. Let's get a review board. Let's get ahead of it, and let's give them power. We don't need an officer that makes a mistake once, twice, 3 times, and finally he kills a boy on national TV, and the next thing you know, the country is burning down. We don't need a dumbass president repeating what segregation has said. When you start looting, we start shooting. But the problem is some officers black and some people gonna shoot back. And that's not good for our community either. I love and respect you all. I hope that we find a way out of it, because I don't have the answers, but I do know we must plot, we must plan, we must strategize, organize, and mobilize. Thank you for allowing me some time to speak. I'd like to appreciate our chief for what she said on YouTube. I thought it was very bold to do. I'd like to appreciate our mayor for talking to us like a black mama and telling us to take our ass at home. And I'd like to thank my friend for convincing me to come here. And I'll defer to Joe Beasley now, because he knows a hell of a lot more than we do. Thank y'all.
Now I want you to use your printout of your speech and read through it and really focus on what are his key messages. And as you read, make notes of all the rhetorical devices that he uses and what impact this has on his audience. Pause the recording whilst you read through the speech again. Here are some of my annotations using this part of the extract. So this is what was said in the speech. I'm mad as hell. I woke up wanting to see the world burn down yesterday because I'm tired of seeing black men die. He casually put his knee on a human being's neck for 9 minutes as he died like a zebra in the clutch of a lion's jaw. There are lots of rhetorical devices being used here, and here are some of them. I'm mad as hell, showing his intense anger using the idea of hell. What other connotations of hell are there? He wanted the world to burn down. There, he's using hyperbole because he's feeling so incredibly hurt and exhausted of the same situation where black men are being mistreated by the police and killed. He, the use of the pronoun when he's talking about the police officer, he doesn't use his name. Why? This word casually, this emotive language, he casually put his knee on a human being's neck. This adverb, why use it? If the police officer casually put his knee on George Floyd's neck, what does this suggest? He calls George Floyd a human being, reminding the audience that he is a person and did not deserve to be treated the way that he was. And this animal imagery used at the end of this extract that I've taken. Why compare Floyd to a zebra and the police officer to a lion? And why is the verb clutch so powerful? If you haven't annotated this section, do so now. Pause the recording and annotate your speech with this level of detail. Now you've listened to the speech, you've read it again and you've annotated it, you should be able to answer the what, how and why questions. So each of these what, how and why are the questions you ask yourself when writing a paragraph. So what is one of rapper Killer Mike's key messages? You might start the sentence with rapper Killer Mike wants, and whatever you want to say. You then continue your paragraph with the how. So how does he get his message across? So your sentence starters might be, he used the rhetorical device of blah 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 to demonstrate whatever. And then you have the why. Why did he use this device? So you might start that sentence with, this is particularly effective because, or this shows that, or the use of whichever method emphasises the fact that, and so on. Once you answer the what, the how and the why, that should be a complete paragraph. You may wish to do what, how, why, and then more how and why in the same paragraph. Now you are going to write your own paragraph in response. Here is an example though. Rapper Killer Mike wants equality between the races. He is clearly angry and impassioned by the racial injustice happening in America and indeed the world, and speaks out about how society must change for the better. That's the what. Then the how. He uses emotive language, a rhetorical device, when he states, I'm mad as hell, in order to communicate the extent of his fury. This simple sentence is also a simile which evokes images of fiery hell for the reader, thus further underlying Killer Mike's anger. Furthermore, he uses hyperbole when he wishes that the world would burn down. Whilst it is unlikely that this is literally the case, the reader fully comprehends just how furious racial injustice makes Killer Mike. So that's the how, and you can see I've used several rhetorical devices to illustrate my point, not just one. And then the why, the green part of the paragraph. These devices are particularly effective because the reader is left in no uncertain doubt that Killer Mike is enraged by George Floyd's death. He speaks out as not only a member of the black community, but also as a human being, and his message is clear. Racial-based brutality must stop. Now I want you to have a go at writing your own paragraph. Pause the recording so that you can look at this one if you need some help. Welcome back. Now it's your turn. Think of a change that you want to see in the world. I want you to try writing your opening paragraph using as many rhetorical devices as you can, just like Killer Mike did. Once you have completed your paragraph, I want you to highlight and annotate which rhetorical devices you have used. I hope you enjoyed the lesson. Thank you.